Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Shadowsphere. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Shadowsphere. Tonight, I am joined by Jeff Shock, a.k.a. Shocky. What is going on, my guy? Welcome to the Shadowsphere.
Hey, man, how's it going? How's your day going?
Oh, fuck, man. It's been a day. How about you, man?
It's definitely been a day. Been a long day. Ready to unwind. Getting ready to hit the road trip tomorrow. Go to Connecticut for mass movement wrestling. So looking forward to that. Need this road trip away from home.
Make sure when you're in Connecticut, you give my boy Loic a nice high five to the face.
That's my okay. I got you. I was gonna say he's my boy, but I got you.
I love Loic. He's a great guy.
Oh yeah. So super generous, super kind. I love him.
The best French Englishman I've ever met.
Yeah.
So I'll start with a cliche question, man. Where and why did you become a professional wrestler?
So plain and simple, I was about 10 or 11 years old. The one thing that I've always known of, everyone's known of The Rock's, Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels, Triple H. Everyone knows the big names, right? Everyone knows those. So, but the one thing my dad's always, my dad and uncles have always watched that as I was growing up. But the one thing that actually got me really hooked, like I said, I was about 10 or 11 years old. Um, Batista was doing a contract signing after winning the Royal Rumble in 2005. He was deciding, if you know the story, he was deciding between going to SmackDown and facing JBL for the WWE title or staying on Raw, saying screw Evolution and going after Triple H's world title. Long story short, he ends up powerbombing Batista, or Batista ends up powerbombing Triple H through that table. And when I saw that on the Monday Night Raw, I was instantly hooked with it, and I was like, oh my god, this is nothing like The Rock. This is nothing like Stone Cold. These guys are just raw, brute, fucking jacked warriors just throwing down with each other. And I knew Triple H, and I never really liked Triple H, so just to see somebody whooping his ass was pretty cool.
Not the same, but fun fact, I am blocked on Twitter by Shawn Michaels, so that's a thing.
Hey, I mean, fun fact too. Shawn Michaels is one of my favorite wrestlers. Growing up and seeing everything that he's done, and
I love him too.
behind the scenes, he was the fucking man.
I made fun of his bald spot, and that was enough to get blocked, I guess. I don't know. So obviously, being a fan of the Animal Dave Batista, man, that guy is an icon. I'm not quite sure your age range. I'm 35. That's peak wrestling for me. John Cena, Batista, all of them.
Yep. That's when I got hooked right there. I'm gonna be 33 in about a month. So yeah, John Cena, and then going and seeing John Cena, Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio. I never was really allowed to stay up late to watch Raw, but SmackDown on the Thursday nights, that was always my thing right there. And when I could watch Raw, that was a different world, but SmackDown was always my thing. Seeing all those guys on SmackDown was mind blowing.
Hating the fact that you're a Batista fan, aka the Animal, if you will, is that what kind of led your path into the deathmatch stuff? Like, I'm assuming you're a traditional sense too, but is that like the alter ego?
No, so it's really funny, right? So what really turned me on to like the blood and the gore. It's John Cena really, like, he was really one of the last guys after Eddie to just start fucking bleeding in every match. He would bleed like crazy. He bled in that I Quit match with JBL. He bled when he bled like crazy when he did the ECW feud with Sabu, and just he was always the guy. Just, I don't know. It's crazy to think that hey, we got to do family, we got to do PG, but he was always the first guy to cut his forehead up and just get color every single. It wasn't even have to be an important match. Just get color anytime he could.
Right. And like, as you said, being the color, my significant other, she's huge into like the ECW style of wrestling, aka what is now considered deathmatch wrestling.
Yeah.
And when I sold her on the event of coming with me to the Crazy Eight down in Hamilton this past April, I was like, just imagine JBL and John Cena, the I Quit match. And she's like, it's
Yeah,
no way.
yeah.
And then
Yeah,
we
that
went
was
and she was
pretty.
so into it.
Yeah, that stuff was pretty iconic for me. Seeing John Cena do all that stuff, and then the next year he was getting. That's when they brought back ECW, or at least they tried to. And my boys who were always big wrestling fans, he had the Rise and Fall of ECW DVD, so I'd always watch that with them. And I'd never got to see any of that in person. So to see him, John Cena, my boy, getting full fledged in there with RVD and Sabu and get his ass kicked, but still get in there with all those guys and really be in the forefront of WWE against ECW was something to see. It's what made me really fall in love with like the extreme part of wrestling and exploring more with what ECW was and the history of I guess what you could say became deathmatch wrestling.
Right. Given the fact that you wrestle in the United States exclusively, speaking of which, when are you getting your passport?
Hopefully soon. My birthday's coming up, so hopefully that'll be something I do for myself soon.
Yeah, the boys told me to throw that one in there for you.
Yeah, okay.
Um,
Of course they did.
have you wrestled down at the 2300 yet? Have you had the chance to go down there and wrestle in there?
No, that's on my checklist though. My mental checklist in life. I don't know if you saw. I don't know how long you've been following, but I posted a little list of wrestlers I wanted to follow. But I want to play. I also want to post a little or wrestlers I want to work. And and the next thing I want to do is post a little list of top 10 places that I would like to work and or be back to work because those are places that have been phenomenal to me or places that I've seen other people work and I want to be myself.
I haven't been following you that long. I started following you when the road trip championship became a thing. So I've only been following you for about a monthish now. So I'm still very new to you, but I enjoy the content you put out.
I try, yeah, I try. It's usually just me and my kid and just me bleeding. So,
Hey man, that's more than most single mothers can say these days. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but okay, so you haven't worked. You have a list of top 10 arenas that you want to fight in, or venues, I should say, because arenas are arenas. They're always going to be legendary.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, you told me you live closer to the Canadian border, and I'm kind of disappointed that you don't have your passport because the scene up here right now is booming.
Me too.
And
Me
like
too.
we had discussed before we went live, you know, you're not that far from the Canadian border and stuff, and all that fun stuff. I won't dox you or nothing like that. But like you like Loic, and like he's got the promotion up here in Quebec. Canadian Deathmatch is going on in Toronto, which like
Ah. I
it,
do
there's a
Canadian. I know. I've been talking to Canadian Deathmatch for probably almost 2 years, and I've been like, yeah, I'm gonna get on it. I'm gonna get on it. I'm just fucking lazy.
listen. I'm not saying this because we all seen how it went for Nick Gage, but maybe sneak in someone's luggage. All right, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I'm small enough. Yeah.
But what inspires you aside from like the day to day theatrics of your own fandom of wrestling? Like, there's got to be something that gets you up and going because like to do what you guys are doing is no small mental hurdle to get over by any means.
Well, I mean, the one thing, the one thing that really gets me, the one thing that gets me up every day and gets me going, and it's my son. Honestly, he thinks what I do. He thinks I'm a warrior. He goes to school and he tells his friends everything that I do. I went on a little. I was a chaperone on a field trip with him before school ended earlier this year, and all my shirts. You can ask my lady. All my shirts come just everything I get. I'll chop them off. They come just like this. I went to his school dressed, how I normally would dress, and knowing his friends, knowing what I know, they're like, oh wow, oh my god, and they all ran up to me and started grabbing my arms. His arms are so big, and they were touching my face, and look at his head, and the teacher's like, all right, come on, get away from him, sit down. Oh, sorry, but they're like, yeah, come on, get away from him, sit down, and it was pretty funny because just to see how he idolizes me and how he sees me, and it's cool. It's a cool feeling, you know what I mean?
Great,
And
and growing.
when I tell people too, I'm a wrestler, and they're like, oh yeah, I can see it. And then I get people tell me jokes. When you walk down the street, you walk like a wrestler. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that's supposed to mean, but okay.
I feel like that's a shot because of how Mick Foley walks.
Yeah, great.
Like, I think that's really cool. I've never wanted to step in to the ring by any means. I've done the backyard wrestling, but I mean, who hasn't? Everybody's done it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I never had the drive to want to go and do what you guys do. But I've always had a drive to be a part of the business. And like I've
yeah,
got a creative mind for it. I do this. Like I said, this past April, I took my significant other to the show, but I also brought my two older kids with me because they were allowed to come. And to them, to my 13-year-old, he loves wrestling, like everything wrestling with this kid. But my
Yeah.
oldest is very like, yeah, I'm kind of over it. He's 15, so he's too cool for it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Right.
um, it's really cool when they see me interact with like you guys because they're like, oh shit, you're actually doing something bigger than sitting in front of your computer talking to them. You know them, you talk to them. And I remember in April, and this was a huge moment for me as a dad because hardcore had given me literally the bloody shirt off his back.
Hey.
And my kids were like, I was like, yeah, like it's cool. Like you said, it's that superhero feel to it.
Yeah. 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 I was like that with back in, I think I was either back in May or June. I was in Connecticut, up in Connecticut again, same place I'll be. But Necro Butcher was on the same show as me, and I've been on a few shows with Necro, and like him and I will sit and we'll drink and we'll just shoot the shit. Nothing really significant that we talk about. Just life, you know what I mean? Just life things. But I like to snap my little selfies with them, and I snapped a selfie with them, and the one day that the Dark Side of the Ring episode was on about him, my son was like, "Hey, Dad, you have a picture with that guy." I said, "Hey, you're right, I do." So, and I showed him, and we have his cousins staying here, and he was bragging, going around, "Oh, Dad, my dad knows that guy. My dad got pictures with him. My dad wrestles with him. Blah blah blah." And it was so that was just pretty cool. Like I've never wrestled against him. I would love to wrestle against him, but I've been on, like I said, I've been on a couple shows with him. So, and Dylan's a cool dude. So just to know that my son associates me with him and he's a legend. So that means something to me.
That's huge. And I've had the privilege of talking with Necro, and man, just the fact that I got to get a response from literally somebody that many consider the godfather of deathmatch at this point.
Super humble,
Um,
the best.
it's a really cool feeling, just being like, oh, cool, you know who I like, not know who I am, but you're answering me.
Yeah, yeah,
You don't
yeah,
have to do that, but he seems
yeah.
down to
Very
earth.
down to earth. I love him.
That's awesome that your kid associates you with that. I know that he got a lot of flack for that episode too. I've seen a lot of negativity around it, but like if you watch it, you understand him and Joe knew what they were doing. Nobody else needed to know. That's the two people
Right,
that needed to know what was going on, only needed to know what was going on.
right, right, right. And and he says a lot of people try to they tell him they want to do the Necro and Joe with him when they wrestle him, and he says he's it's overplayed or it's played out, and it's just something that I would hate to be getting a match with him and be like, hey, I want to do that and just throw fists, because I heard he really lays it in. And my buddy Mickey Vargas, that's like my best friend ever. He's like my little brother. He's down in Texas. He recently wrestled Necro, where he busted him in the head with a bottle and accidentally sliced his arm open. And I don't know if you saw that clip, but that one went pretty viral. And he said Necro was cool as hell. He wasn't mad at him for it. They shot the shit. They drank. They said, "Hey, it is what it is." And um, but he said Necro was like he rocked his jaw and made him see a little bit of stars, because Necro was one of the hardest hitting dudes that he's ever been in the ring with, and it made me a little envious, because I would like to get in there and do the Samoa Joe stuff and throw him around and have him throw me around, and just personally, who wouldn't, who couldn't say I could make that shit look good, because I could make that shit look good. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And like it's the same theory. If you're a boxer, you want to say you fought Tyson, right? Like that's
Hell yeah.
I always tell my kid, because this question's come up a couple times. He goes, "Would you fight Mike Tyson?" I was like, "Fuck yeah!" Am I gonna win? No. Am I gonna wake up
Yeah.
3 weeks later? Probably. But I can
Hell
say I
yeah.
fought the man.
Great.
um, Aside from Necro, man, who is the? I guess I don't want to say starstruck because you guys are professional, and I'm sure you've been in locker rooms with many. But who is the most starstruck beside Necro that you've shared a locker room with, or even just a ring with?
So a locker room. Well, so last year down in the I can't really name where we were, but we did Wicked 13 for XBrand. Um, there was a lot of big names on that one. That was the first time I met Mickey Knuckles. First time I met Nick Gage. First time I met Bobby Bev. First time I met Eric Ryan. First time I met Jimmy Lloyd. That was a big show. There was a lot. First time I met Angel Metro. There was a lot of people on that show. First time I met Bam Sullivan, and I'd idolized those guys. I've been friends with them on Facebook, followed them, all their careers, and just to see them and be on the same show as them, and I had to fucking I had to try and get up to par with what they were doing because everybody's getting smashed in the face with something, everybody's bleeding, so I got to try and step it up and get them to notice me. And that big show, not to brag or anything, but I did a big flip off the roof, and it got me my props from everybody. And like I said, it was just crazy to be on that show with everybody. Everybody like, man, and good spot, good shit, nice to see you, whatever. And but yeah, that was definitely a moment where I couldn't believe I was in the same vicinity as all those names. There was 13 big names, and I couldn't believe that, and hardcore included. He was one of those names too. I just couldn't believe I was in the same area as every single one of those people.
How long have you been doing this now?
So I've been wrestling professionally since I was 19 years old. Well, if you want to say professionally, 19 years old when I actually started getting booked, but I started training when I was 16. And deathmatch I've only been doing since like the beginning of 2025. But before that, I've dabbled in different things like the not full deathmatch, but thumbtacks, barbed
The
wire,
hardcore
stupid shit
style,
like that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Given the fact of where you live, so we're going back, you said 19, so 14, 15 years. Have you ever had the opportunity of running into like a Brody Lee or anybody like that up there while
Yeah,
training?
actually, yeah, yeah. So, I used to when I did Pier 6 and Buffalo Championship Wrestling, he wouldn't come through and do any training class or actual training or anything like that. But he would come through, and you'd see him sitting in the back row watching us guys, the young guys train and shit like that, and helping with ring crew every now and then and set up the chairs. Um, one of the shows I was on, Buffalo Championship Wrestling. Was one of the very first times, and I've been on not on the same shows as them, but I've seen them a few times since then. But that was the first time I've been on a show with Tommy Dreamer and I believe Rhino was on that show too. And since then, I've been interacted with them on a few different shows, not wrestled, but interacted with where I've done ring crew and different things like that. So it was pretty cool. Those are honestly probably some of the bigger names that I've been on the show with, and they were actually pretty down to earth. Asking me how I'm doing, how my day was. The one guy at the time, Tommy Dreamer, he knew my buddy that I was training with, so we kind of got to sit with him and just and hang out with him really. So that was pretty fun. But
By
that was
no means am I
way back when we were like 18. So
but by no means am I trying to make you name drop for the sake of name dropping. I just like hearing the cool stories and lore of who you are as a wrestler because
yeah,
these names obviously have meaning to you, right? And like
yeah.
it builds who you are as a wrestler. Um, I've asked this to a few, and I'm gonna ask you, what is something when it comes to it could be traditional, it could be deathmatch, it could be hardcore, but what is something that is as a spot you look at and you're like, fuck no, I'm not doing that. That's too risky for me.
Um, I mean, I'll probably end up doing it, but that barbed wire trampoline spot looks fucking gnarly.
Yeah, it
They do,
does.
they do, they. That's like their signature spot in POR. Sicko the Clown does that a lot. I don't know. I mean, I could once I'm in the moment, fuck it, yeah. But just looking at it, that's just too gnarly, man. There's a lot of things I never said I would do, but I ended up doing it. I've gotten sliced open. Hey, I'm alive. I'm healed. I'm still kicking. But never say never. I guess that's the way I look at it.
Now, given the fact that I know New York doesn't really allow that style of the wrestling,
Not at all.
um, what is it like when you get really gashed up? Like, I mean, because you have to go to the ER sometimes, or maybe you got somebody personally that's sewing you up. But like,
So one time I got really messed up. I was one of my very first death matches coming back into it. I did it with hardcore. He, I was on an XBrand show. It was my first XBrand show. He threw a bundle of light tubes at me. It was either three or four taped together, and I went to go put my hands up like this. And I don't know if you could really see it, but there's
oh,
a
that gash, yeah.
gnarly little scar. It was like 30 something stitches, and it was like a skin flap hanging off like hanging off my skin like that. And yeah, it was gnarly. Everyone was like, I was like, hey, you think I can just rip it off and call it a day? Everyone was like, nah, you might want to go to the emergency room. So we were in PA, went down to the emergency room, and that was a fun little story too in and of itself. Just how everyone, they couldn't believe how they couldn't believe the story of it. They couldn't believe that I willingly let some dude fuck me up, and you know what I mean. So it was fun. The nurse, she was, or I don't know, it wasn't a nurse, but she was not the doctor. She was real nice. She was real chill. Numbed up my arm, stitched me up, and pretty much told me I could take home the tools that she used to stitch me up to cut it open whenever it was ready. And I didn't need to wait for discharge paper. She's like, I'm, if I look the other way and I see you leave, that's up to you. But you're good to go as far as I'm concerned. I was like, cool. So me and Hardcore sat in the waiting room with me, or sat in the emergency room with me and the waiting room with me the whole time. So yeah,
I always find it funny when I ask an American this question versus when I ask the Canadian boys these questions because, like, obviously up here you walk in, you get whatever, you leave. The stories I've heard the boys tell me of like going into an ER, and they're like, "Yeah, sometimes they even come out to the next show." I'm like, "Oh, okay."
yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's the worst one I've gotten. Recently they haven't been too bad. Like I definitely got a few on my back that who knows what they're from anymore. But one that I got one on the side of my face here, and I got one on the side of my head, and both of those I know specifically. I call him Scar now. They're from Gigi Jacobs because he likes to be a little fucking rough with me. And, the first one, he pie faced me in the face with a chair and split my eyebrow open right there, so I got a nice little scar there. And then the second one, he hit me in the face with a light tube, and I think that's my fault. I think I turned my head too soon, and he sliced down, and the way it caught me, just literally same thing, was like a skin flap just hanging out my face. And this one wasn't too bad. I super glued it shut. So hey,
you got apparently you just have some loose skin that you can just rip it off. I don't know.
dude, yeah, yeah.
Um, Now, tell me a little bit more about your traditional wrestling, because, like you said, you only just got into deathmatch within the last year and a half. So, like, where have you gone with traditional, and like, what do you like? I don't know. Just tell me your story, your journey of traditional.
So, um, I don't know. I fell in love with guys that can work, like the workers, the real workers, like the ring workers, like the Shawn Michaels, the Benoits, the Eddie Guerreros, the real, the Edges, the Ortons, the guys that can really work, the guys that can really tell a story with just throwing in a headlock and looking at the camera or looking at the crowd and just things, just the very simple, basic things like that. And the more I got into it, the more I explored. Like I was never a skinny kid growing up. I was always a little bit fatter, a little bit pudgier, and there was WWE didn't really show any of those wrestlers. So when I got in, got to see the indie wrestlers and things like that, I got to see more of the Kevin Owens and the more of the Samoa Joes and the Mike Elgins and guys like that, and the pudgier guys and just to see them doing their thing and doing the big flips and the big spots and still doing the work and still putting in the heavy work, that's what I fell in love with. So uh, my dad, he when I was 16, he worked for a place around. Well, I don't know if you know, they got Tops, but he works for Tops Markets around here, and he knew somebody that worked for him that ran a wrestling school called Buffalo. Well, at the time was Pier Six, and ended up turning into Buffalo Championship Wrestling. But they said, hey, if we could train you, we can't get you on shows. You can help set up the ring, you can help clean up, do ring crew, whatever. And I learned the basics. I learned just hitting the ropes. I learned bumping. In the free time, a couple of the guys would teach me the lockups and how to do chain wrestling from there. Real basic things. And then the more the more I got into it, they would throw me into random battle royals under a mask, or they would throw me into multi-man tag matches, different things like that. So I just really got to work with just ring vets. Like I don't know if you're familiar with guys like John McChesney, Nikki Rose. The one guy up here who works, his name was, I can't even remember what the hell his name was anymore. But he used to be Riot. Ron Falco used to be up here. Just a lot of real old school guys that.
Not
Um,
familiar, but I've heard the names. You know what I mean? Like, I can't
yeah,
tell you
yeah,
anything they've done, but I've heard the names.
right. And just coming through and just doing that, and a lot of those guys, once Pier Six, once because they only came around like really yearly when the guy had his tax money and shit like that. So once I got into it, there was another one around here, real big. They're called Empire State Wrestling, and I went to a few of their different show or a few different their shows, and started going to a few of their trainings where I trained with guys like Kevin Bennett and Brandon Thurston, and a couple times of Colin Delaney, different people like that, and just those guys were just. Personally today to this day, even those guys, I'll never touch their ring work because the things they do is fucking it's amazing. And I've been watching those guys since a lot of them I've known them and backyard wrestle with them too. A lot of those guys that are in ESW now too. But they don't do the deathmatch style. And the thing that's always appealed to me was, like I said, more the theatrics, because I could do a couple athletic things. I could fly through the ropes. I could do the big flips and whatever stupid shit like that. But I could never do the crazy things like you see the Rey Mysterios and skinny guys doing. So I was always more into like the theatrics. So if I could dive through the ropes, I can get hit with a chair, I could bleed, and different things like that. Things that could tell a story. So that's what the things that really liked with wrestling is storytellers. You know what I mean? Like a who's the king of the old school, Steve Carino. Different guys like that. Real old school storytellers, um, and just things like that, and just the different styles I discovered, like the Japanese style, and more of those things as I started doing the training, I started picking those things up and kind of just trying them here and there and saying, hey, how do you think this would look, or what do you think this would be like? And the one guy that really picked up with my style, God rest his soul, he was one of my closest friends growing up, and I did backyard wrestling with him. His name was Anthony Nicometti, aka his wrestling name was Anthony Gaines. He's real popular for he wrestled, I think this is going back almost like 10, 12 years ago now. He wrestled Ace Romero when Ace Romero was real big and pudgy, and he pounced him out of the ring like 14 rows deep. And he went viral for that way back before viral videos were a thing. And Anthony Gaines, him and I started working together on our style. He taught me just pretty much control how to pace myself. Less is more. Uh, his words were, if you think you're going too fast, slow it down, and if you think that's still too fast, slow it down even more. There's a camera on you. People are watching you. Never stop working. Don't just stop and pause and look around. If the guy's laying there, don't just stand there and wait for him to get up. Throw in a kick, throw in a punch, throw in a headlock. Different basic things, like real smart, like I said, real work ethnic things that can tell a story with like he used to tell me, less is more. So instead of
Yeah.
doing all the crazy things where if you don't need to do a dive and throw the guy in and hit him with a DDT, you can do the dive and you can show off and throw him in and hit him with a headlock, and we don't just prolong that. And you know what I'm saying? Just pace yourself, and just learning from him, that really like cranked my style up into more what it is today, I'd say.
Yeah,
And
and like I see a lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
no, and it's just when his style was more of like a just more of like a I wouldn't say lucha libre, but more of like a Japanese style, and that's I wouldn't say my style is really that either, because he's man, I love him. He passed away, like I said, but I loved everything he did and everything he showed me. But I could never touch anything that he could do too. He was one of those guys where once he got in between those ropes, nobody could compare to him.
Excuse me. Yeah, and like I by no means, and I mean no means am I a wrestler of any kind, but I've studied so much wrestling. I've watched wrestling my entire life. And I see these young kids, and I've even had conversations with wrestlers that they've wrestled on the card or been on the card with, and I'm like, they got to slow it down because they're doing too much.
Yeah,
And sometimes if you're going with a guy your size, okay, it makes sense, and you both can go that fast. But if you're a guy that's 120 going against a guy that's 220, there's a whole different size there, and
yeah.
you can't be going super fast because you look dumb and it becomes unsafe really fast.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I like to tell the story. Like myself, I'm only 5'7". I'm 200 pounds, 185 pounds on a nice day. But I like to tell it. I'm not a very big guy. I'm not a very tall guy. I'm not a very strong guy. I like to tell the story of, if you're bigger than me, you're a tree. I'm gonna chop you down, and I'm gonna tell that story of working on a leg, working on of just trying to get you down and keep you down. And if I got you down, I'm gonna cover you. You're gonna throw me off you because you're so much bigger than me. Like, you know what I'm saying? Just telling a
Yeah.
story, like things like Shawn Michaels used to do with Vader, or things like Shawn Michaels used to do with Kevin Nash, different things like that. That's why I say he was one of my favorite workers, because the in ring psychology that guys like that had, just they never stopped. They never stopped working. They were always doing something.
Given that you're a storyteller, do you find it hard because obviously there is a lot of critics when it comes to deathmatch, a lot. Like it doesn't matter which way you look at it. Do you find that the critiques of deathmatch wrestling not having storytelling in the ring real, or is that just the outside trying to dismiss deathmatch?
No, I don't. I haven't really gotten a lot of that backlash, because a lot of the death matches I do. There's this. I forget. It's gonna bother me because I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he covers a lot of deathmatch, and it's his own personal opinion, but his own personal review. But he covers a lot of like important deathmatch, like a lot of GCW, and reviews the matches, and a lot of the matches that I've done in the last year, he's reviewed, and he's been really generous about what he said about me. As far as like I worked a match with I don't know if you're familiar with Anthrax. I worked a match with Anthrax, and he said in the one he said in the one review that the style that I bring to a match is the quality match that Anthrax should have for every single match going forward. Meaning, I, I took it as I bring a style to where I make you want to watch. I bring it. It's something that's uncomparable to anybody else's. And for him to say it's something that the champion deserves to have every match going forward, it means he needs to have his match as good as that, or he needs to have something as good as I brought going forward, or it's not going to make him look as credible. At least that's how I feel.
And that sounds like that's a huge compliment to the way you wrestle, right? And
Yeah,
you're elevating whether you're the champion or not, which you're not, you're wrestling the champion in this case, but you're elevating that champion to show off more than he's normally showing off.
right,
Because a lot of myself included, for the longest time, I just thought it was brute force wrestling. Like there was no real anything to it, right? Like,
right.
but then again, I've done the backyard stuff, so I never really thought about doing the storytelling. And as I sit down and I watch, and I've now made friends with a couple bookers in the scene, and I have a conversation with them, and they kind of lay out the stories that have passed, because obviously nobody's gonna tell me what's happening, but the
Right,
stories that
right.
they've put together in the past, and I'm like, huh. I go back and I watch it, and I was like, yeah, I can see the like the waves of the story just unfolding. And like I've watched, I'm sure you're familiar with Brandon St. James.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I watched him and Tyler Arrow have a match back in April, and I knew nothing of either of them going into that event. Like I knew nothing, and the match that they told hooked me. But then I found out that there's a whole lore behind it all, and I was like,
Right.
okay, so now this match makes a lot more sense now that I know the whole story. But even just that one match that I watched told everything it needed to for me to be like, oh shit, there's something here.
Yeah. That's what I like
Uh,
about wrestling. I like telling a story, and that's what got me, and that's what made me think. Or at least made me got me. I wouldn't say hooked on deathmatch, but made me think like this deathmatch should. It's there's a story to be told. Anytime there's like you can build to each. There doesn't need to always be light tube, bleed, bleed, bleed. You can build to each single one of that. You can kick some guy's ass before all of a sudden he gets sick of you and he just turns around and pops you with a tube or kicks you in the leg and hits you in the face with a gusset or there's a story to be told. You know what I mean? You can out wrestle a guy before he gets to a certain point where he's like, all right, fuck this, I've had enough of you, and he clobbers you with a chair, and you can that's allowed to happen because it's a death match or whatever. You know what I mean? So that's what I really that's what really hooked me about death matches. I think of it like ECW in the old school ECW. There's a lot to be done and a big story to be told in a bigger and bigger I guess uh climax to reach to.
yeah. I'm sure, like, I'm friends with hardcore, you're friends with hardcore. I to your point with the storytelling, I don't know if you've watched his matches with Josh Vandercruz, but there's a whole story there, and the way Josh and him are two different wrestlers.
Yeah.
Josh is more methodically planned out, and hardcore is who hardcore is. But you
Oh
can
yeah.
tell, like Josh is more methodical with how he does things, whereas hardcore is just beating the shit out of you.
Yep.
And it's no discredit to either of them, and it works. And this rivalry between them works because they
Yeah.
know how to tell a story together.
Yeah, that's definitely how it is. That's usually how 9 times out of 10 when somebody asks to structure a match with me, that's how it starts. It's all right, you're gonna out wrestle me, I'm gonna get sick of you out wrestling me, and I'm just gonna fuck you up. And then we're gonna go from there. I'm like, all right, that's how you want it to be, that's how it's gonna be. I don't take that as an insult.
I thinking back a couple minutes here, I credit you because a lot of wrestlers are scared to touch the name Chris Benoit. So I appreciate you bringing that up. I'm not going to go
And
into more than that with that conversation,
he was just a
um,
good worker. I'm not looking at anything else besides that.
but that's just it. And a lot of people give me shit because, unfortunately, I am one of the few people in the world that can separate the artist from the man, because
Yeah.
what he did in the ring transcended a lot of what we see now.
Yeah, yeah. When some of my favorite matches, I'm gonna be honest. One of my favorite matches, Royal Rumble 2003, him and Angle, and Angle's one of my favorite workers ever too. So
Um, Big fan of Eddie Guerrero, you said, man. So
Yep.
you were around watching around that time. So what was it like when Eddie passed for you?
That was real rough. That was it was weird, man, because he was someone that I'd seen on my TV forever, every Thursday night forever. The Viva La Raza. I watched it. I didn't get to see Eddie's big title run when he was WWE champion. I missed that, but I did get to see him and Rey Mysterio as tag team champions. I did get to see him and Batista get into their little feud for a little bit. I got to see Eddie go through his whole "I'm Your Poppy" and the whole Dominic Mysterio, Rey Mysterio ladder match. I got to see peak Eddie Guerrero at that point. And I never disliked Eddie Guerrero. I always thought his work was just phenomenal because he was a small guy, jacked in stature, and he could just outwork the best of them. And growing up, just to see what he did, and how he had to change his style because he had a broken back, and that's to me is crazy. And growing up, that definitely hit hard. It was a little different because I didn't quite understand it. Like I said, it was just weird not seeing him. It hurt for sure. But growing up, it
Yeah.
hurt a lot more to know that there was a lot more that he could have done. And then I could say one that was real comparable to that made me feel that exact same way. Whereas, man, I can't believe that he's actually gone. It was Bray Wyatt, because it's another one. It's a legacy left where he just had so much. He did so much, and there was just so much he could still do, and it's still to this day. I just still can't believe he's gone.
So I was gonna bring that up because we were talking about Eddie. Bray or Wyndham, I should say, is my idol. Always will be. I
Yeah,
have on my forearm, I have the words, I am the color red in a world full of black and white."
that's my
That
favorite
is
quote.
that is tattooed on my forearm because I live by that and I believe that. I'm not built to stand out. Like I'm built to stand out. I'm not built to fit in.
That's right.
And you say that you love the storytelling, and realistically, me and you, we could sit and talk. I can't give you one match that Bray Wyatt did that was phenomenal, but I can name you every storyline that he put together and told a story that was phenomenal.
Yep.
He was not the greatest in ring worker, 100%. We can all agree on that. But
No, but you
like the
remembered what he did.
storytelling he could do,
Yeah.
man, I don't know. That one hit hard. Um, I remember because it only happened, fuck, coming up on 4 years.
Yeah.
Um, or 3 years now. Four, three.
Yeah.
He passed away in
Yeah.
23.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Which is crazy to think about. I think it's in a few days here where it'll be gone 3 years. I remember as soon as he passed, I called my friend who's a tattoo artist. I'm like, I need to put something on my arm. And I actually bawled, and like I didn't understand, like you. I was a kid when Eddie passed, but Eddie was still one of my favorites, but
Yeah.
it didn't hit the same. It hit the same, but not the same. I've watched Bray from literally FCW, NXT,
Yeah.
WWE appearance, right? I followed his career. I have a massive collection of his stuff. I think I have almost every figure he's ever had released. I have multiple signatures by him. I have his Universal Championship mini belt. I
Oh,
have
hell
his
yeah.
side, like I'm Bray Wyatt everything.
Yeah.
Um when the Wyatt Six came back, I had high hopes, but then I realized it's WWE we're talking about, so I kind of like tampered them, and I was right in
Yeah.
the end. I didn't like it. Um,
At first, it was cool, but yeah.
if they would have given Bray Wyatt treatment to that faction, I feel like it could have, but it didn't, and they sucked the money out of it, and they got everything out of it.
Right.
Um, but yeah, like storytelling wise, man, like Eddie, Bray, there's so many that were at the top of their peak and just gone before we could ever really see
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, dude, it's crazy. Wrestling, fucking crazy.
Uh, so, but aside from wrestling, are you a collector of any kind? Do you like I'm sure you like other sports. What kind of sports are you into, man?
Honestly, I mean, I like football, but I'm from Buffalo, so I'm not a big like NFL fan. I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan. Anything in my hometown, Buffalo Sabres. I'm a big fan of my hometown. Really, anything in my hometown, I love my hometown, my city, Buffalo. Anything that's Buffalo, I collect news clippings that are part of history. Sabres jerseys, Sabres Bills jerseys, Sabres bags, Bills bags, anything you name it. I probably got it. There's the Zuba pants of the Bills, Zuba pants of the Sabres. I got a Bills sweatsuit. You know what I mean? So I love my city. Anything that's got to do with Buffalo, I'm all for it.
I mean, that's like Toronto and me, except I don't cheer for anybody but the Leafs.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm Boston, everything else except for hockey. So I don't know.
I say,
I
look at my
just
shirt, man. Buffalo Club. So I ride or die for my city.
look at the background of Shadowsphere. It's the skyline of Toronto. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
try to blend it in, right? Like I don't live there and I haven't lived there in many years, but like Toronto's home. Except I don't like their
Yep.
sports teams. What are some? Excuse me. So there's this road trip championship that you hardcore and the boys have all kind of been fighting for. Recently seen that somebody pinned Mr. Hardcore on the toilet, which I think was bullshit because he was taking a shit. So how does that come about? Because you guys are all traveling together, you travel buddies and stuff like that, man. But like, where did the idea come from to have like a championship on the road?
So I believe our friend Chris, he's a referee and he's trying to just get out there and be, ref wherever he can. He him and John trained for I believe Ground Zero, and they were asked to just shoot a vlog of us going out of town doing whatever deathmatch stuff because they don't. The Ground Zero guys, they don't train deathmatch, they just do regular. Obviously, who trains deathmatch, but they just train regular wrestling. Um, they did it more so just to show that what we do and what where we're going, and also just to have a little bit of fun. We did it everywhere. We did it at rest stops, in bathrooms, in hotel rooms, everywhere. It was just a little fun idea. We couldn't come up with a night. We couldn't come up with the name of the. We were just calling it the Road Trip Championship, and then I think Chris was actually the one who came up with the King of the Road Trip Championship or whatever. I don't even know what the hell it's called, but so yeah, they come up with it. I held it for all of, like, I don't know, 5 seconds before John woke up from his nap and chopped me and pinned me again. So, but yeah, it's all good fun. I enjoy it. I like a good 24/7 rule hardcore championship.
I think it's awesome, and I mean it's a great way to pass the time on the road
Oh
instead
yeah,
of
for
like
sure.
you know.
And then the stares you get from people when you're doing it in public, they're like, "What the fuck's going on? What the hell's the matter with these guys?" So it's pretty fun too.
Um, I believe on the last road trip, I don't remember where you guys were going, but I know Hardcore took the off the top championship with them. Did you actually get to hold that thing?
Yeah, we were in where the hell was it? I believe we were in somewhere in Detroit. And yeah, that thing's hefty, man. That thing was he brought it everywhere with him. Everywhere. We were outside the hotel. We were outside in front of the hotel smoking with the locals. We were everything. He was he brought it everywhere. He was showing it off with them. He'd say I don't know what I'm allowed to say, but he rolled on the belts. Like, come on now. Like he brought it everywhere with him, bro. That shit was great.
That's why we named him the champion, man. I want the
Hell yeah,
exposure, and I
dude, it
love
was
it,
fucking
right?
awesome.
Like
He brought it everywhere with him. People were like, "Can I hold this a real title?" Like, yeah, it's a real title. They're like, "Yo, this is fucking great." Yeah.
2 years ago I lugged that around Toronto for 3 days because I went to the Money in the Bank weekend in Toronto.
Hell
And
yeah.
like by the Sunday, I was like, anybody that wanted to hold it and carry it, I was like, yeah, take it because my shoulder was dead. Like, and but like so many people are like, oh, you must be a wrestler. I'm like, no, just a promoter.
Yeah.
And just, like, but like the people that have held that belt and like I'm seeing, what hardcore is doing with it, and like just when I get reactions like that, fuck, that's heavy. That's what I wanted when I created it,
Yeah.
right? Is to have an authentic feel and no shot
Yeah.
at
People are
any
like,
indie
"Oh
promotion.
shit!" They're like holding it in their hand, like, "Oh my god, look at this thing."
And no shot at any indie promotion because I know how much goes into making belts as I've had one made. But I will put mine up against any company and be like, okay, outdo this because
Yeah,
mine will be heavier.
yeah, it's nice. That shit's solid, bro. I liked it. I like it. I really like it. And I like the black and white split on it, or the red and blue split on it.
Yeah, very the idea behind that was Robert SmackDown.
Hell yeah, I like that.
And then it's got the Bray Wyatt plate, obviously, because those are interchangeable and I need to get hardcore some plates. I just haven't been able to get a hold of my guy because he's making lots of belts. So but man, I just I always and I appreciate your time with this, man. I love hearing the stories. I love hearing what gets you guys going. And I guess my next question would be who is the how do I say this without who is the favorite wrestler that you've had the opportunity to share the ring with? And maybe some you don't have to name names when I ask this part, but do you have somebody that you absolutely will not work with again because you're just like fuck them?
um, so my absolute, I gotta maybe like, if it comes to me as I'm saying it, because it's the first two people I can think of that I absolutely love sharing the ring with, doing a match with, doing anything with. It's just another day in the office or easy day to work with them. Um, First one that comes to my mind is my boy Mickey Vargas, and then the other one immediately comes to my mind is hardcore. Anytime I get in the ring with those guys, it's just easy. It's what's the word? It's fluid. You know, just like liquid. It's fluid. It flows. There's no stopping us. There's no everything just works. All the gears click into one another. Everything flows. I enjoy working with those guys, and we a lot of those times when I do matches with them, it's all right. We're gonna do this to start. We're gonna do this at some point in the middle, and then we're gonna end it this way. And everything else, we're just, hey, all right, you ready? All right, let's do this. And
Call it in the
I
ring.
love anything like that.
Or call it in the ring or call it in the no ring. Just
Yeah, yeah,
here's the
yeah,
start, the middle, and the finish. Everything in
yeah.
between will feel the crowd kind of thing.
Yep. Let's do it.
Uh do you have someone that you will not work with? Like, again, I don't want names because I don't believe in putting people on blast like that. But when you're thinking about it, is there somebody you wouldn't want to work with again?
Um, no, I mean, I know some people got problems with me, and I'll address that at another time, whenever the fuck that problem comes to me. But no, I mean, even so, I believe controversy creates money. So it's like, let's make them think we hate each other, bro. Because let's see what we can do with it. Because I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna fucking hit you hard, anyways.
I think in the words of Mr. Phil, aka Pepsi Phil, aka CM Punk,
I
I'm
love
not
them.
here to make friends. I'm here to make money.
Hell yeah, I got enough
And
friends. My friends love me. The people that are talking shit about me, hey, let's give them a reason to fucking think why you're talking shit about me, and I'm gonna hit you hard either way. So, like I said,
I know there's people who think what I do. There's sometimes I've had controversy conversations, and and I say, you know what? Oh well, because at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me. You view it, you don't. Either way, it
yep,
doesn't matter.
that's right. Wrestling's
I,
wrestling is a very selfish sport. I'm starting to see that the more I get myself out there. And I'm not saying in a bad way at all, because you got to
no,
be selfish, but at the same time, if you think somebody's your friend, probably be careful. They're probably not, because they're going to show true colors eventually.
I got burnt quickly in my interviewing career with an indie promotion, and I learned real quick. I keep everybody at an arm's length now. It's no
Yep.
disrespect to anybody. I just
No, yeah.
very,
Trust me as far as you can throw them, and I can't throw anybody very far. So,
like, but like with the off the top championship and naming hardcore, that was a process between me and Scals where we sat there for almost 2 months and figuring, okay, who's going to represent us properly, who's going to make sure the name gets out there. You know, there was a lot of trust that had to go into it. And more that I talked to hardcore, I've talked to other guys as well. But like the more I talked to him, it was like, okay, this makes sense. Pass that information on to Scals. We sat back and forth, and that's where it came to. Um, Now, I asked you about wrestlers, and again, I don't want names, but is there a promotion that you're like, I'm never going back there?
um, no, because I'm not I'm not stingy like that to where I feel like I'm better than anybody or anything. Um, and really, I'm just like I was saying earlier. I'm not. Like I was telling, well, yesterday I should say, you're thanking me and appreciating me for the stories and whatever, bro. I'm appreciating you because not a lot of fucking people want to listen to me, and not a lot of people care to listen because nobody knows who the fuck I am. So you're really doing me a big favor by, at least I think, by getting my name out there. And anyone that can get my name out there, shit, bro, I fucking love them and I owe them anything.
And that's what I do. Like I tell everybody I interview, maybe my interviews don't get a lot of views or they don't get this or they don't get that, but I'm also putting you to my audience now who doesn't know you. You're
Yeah,
putting when I share that and then you reshare it or whatever, you're putting my name out there to different people. Like eventually something's gonna roll and click and
yeah, yeah.
like that's
And
how
I
I plan
appreciate
to.
the support. Like I don't get a whole lot of support anywhere, at home, and I get it from random strangers really more than I get it from anybody. But I really any type of support I get anywhere from anywhere, home, here, from you, anyone. It really means a lot to me because I, I need it. I feel like I'm not a very big. I would like to be uh bigger than I am or a bigger deal than I am, and if I'm not a bigger deal than I am in the next, probably by the time I'm 35, I think I'm gonna call it quits. So 'cause I'm sick of beating my body up.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. You're not gonna get younger by then either, right? So,
Yeah.
and what you guys do is physically demanding at that point.
Oh yeah.
Um, and to your point with the whole support thing, I've had strangers clap louder for me in the last year than I've had even my own family.
Yep. Oh yeah, for
And
sure. That's a testament right there.
and obviously I have my children who absolutely support me to
Yeah.
nonstop, and I love them for it. They'll mention my names, they'll wear the gear, they'll put stickers on shit. They love it. My significant other, big fan of what I do. Took her a while to come around to it because like to her it was a dumb hobby, me sitting in front of a computer interviewing you guys. But
Yeah.
then like going to that show in April and literally hardcore giving me that shirt, she was open her eyes like, oh, okay, you are doing something. And like, September 12th, uh, Hardcore's wrestling in a casket match that my brand is sponsoring. That doesn't come just from my pocket. That comes from Scal's pocket. That comes from my significant other's pocket. Like,
Oh yeah. I was if I can, I would if I can get my shit straightened out. I would. I've said it a lot, but I'm gonna try and get down to that one for sure.
you got like, um, you don't live in Michigan, but I don't know what New York's thing is, but you can get an advanced driver's license to go across too.
Yeah, yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's.
So
I got trouble with my license. That's. I won't get into that.
listen, I don't even have my passport, and that's something I got to work on. And me and Hardcore have had that conversation too. So he makes fun of you for it. He makes fun of me for it because there's not much opportunity up here for me. There's opportunity up here for you because all these brands are here and all this.
Right,
For
right.
me, my chase is going down there now, especially when I'm doing these interviews with Deathmatch. Canadian Deathmatch has been great in hooking me up with meeting people. Like they don't help me, but I going to their shows
Yeah, yeah.
is huge. It's a huge door for me to walk through because, like,
Oh yeah.
I've met so many people that way. Um, but I also do some TikTok stuff, and I've moved away from that in the recent years, but I still hang out on there. And the other day, I was talking to some old friends that I've caught up with, and they're like, "Man, I'm so proud of you. You came back. 'Cause I took a year off. Like I just disappeared off everything, and I came back, dropped 14 interviews, and just hit the ground running.
Hell yeah, dude.
Like all through May, I was interviewing people, and then June was just boom, 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 boom. They're out, and then since then, I've been able to talk with you, Buddy Badcock, so many people,
Oh yeah,
and like
buddy, my boy.
Buddy told me some wild things about a hillbilly, and I'm like, okay, um, but like they told me they were proud of me, and then they're like, remember, nobody doing better than you is talking shit about you, and that really resonated with me because like all these creators that I was quite quote unquote petty of for that year that I was off because I was the reason I left. I was like, you know what? They don't even know who the fuck I am. Like they know
Yeah,
me, but they don't care. I'm just a blip to them.
yeah,
The
yeah.
people talking shit and demoralizing what I'm doing are the people not even getting off their ass to even try to do half the shit I do. Like I'm like I say when I said to you yesterday, I'm grateful for the opportunity to sit down and talk to you. You have no idea. I've sent out thousands of emails and got zero response. Like that's an exaggerated number. I haven't sent out thousands, but like that's the work that goes into it. I'm sure like you need to get booking on shows. You're putting your name out to all these promoters. Doesn't
A
necessarily always
lot.
mean you're getting answers.
No, I
Or you
try to
get
set myself
promises
a
that
goal
never come
where
through.
yeah, I try to set myself a goal where I message X amount of promotions a day, and it's gotten where I've gotten lazy with myself, or I've fallen off a little bit. But I want to get back into it. Where I now it's X amount of promotions a week, to where a lot of them don't even get back to me. They'll read them, or a lot of them will get back to me, and they'll say, "Hey, I've seen you. Send me a match or whatever," and like we'll shoot the shit and we'll talk a little bit, but then it's never. For sure I can get you booked this day, or it's maybe I can use it's always maybe I can use you for a future day. It's never I can get you on this next whatever the fuck. So it's a lot of a lot of hope, and they say hope flows. So I'm holding on to that.
Right. And this weekend, I don't think I'll be able to drop the interview in time for this weekend. It'll probably drop early next week. But like this weekend alone, where we're talking on August 21st, you're heading down to Connecticut for movement. And
Yeah.
then are you going down in September to X Brand as well?
So I'm not. I guess I mean it's really not a fucking secret. XBrand don't really fuck with me anymore, and it's. I guess it's my own doing, but it's a lot of people. Talk, 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 talk. It's another fucking reason why I don't got any problems with anybody. I don't, not any personal problems, at least. And I love Justin. Justin's my boy. But he's another one who's hooked me up and done phenomenal things for my career in the last year. Nobody's put me on. I honestly, nobody's put me on better, bigger, and better than him, and allowed me to do my thing more than him. And I'll forever be in debt and grateful to him for that. So it's just everyone else that works there that don't really fuck with me for whatever fucking their own personal reasons. I mean, if he would love to, he's always telling me he'd love to get me back for a show. He'd love to get me on a show. It's just a matter of, I think he fears of what other people are going to think and say and shit like that. So I got too carried away. I got too happy at a show and one day, and it's my own fault. But who fucking cares, bro? I'm not John Cena. I'm not Stone Cold, and we did it in somebody's fucking backyard. So honestly, I don't. I look at it like, who gives a fucking shit, bro? So I've done
And
bigger
that's
and
just
better
it.
things since then. Since then, I've been on POR. Since then, I've been, you know what I'm saying? I've been on mad other shows. I've been to Detroit. I've been, but even before then, I've been down in Texas. People want me back down in Texas. People want to book me in Arkansas. People want to book me in California. You know what I mean? So it's like it's
People
not a
want to
big
book you in
fucking
Canada, but you don't have a passport.
yeah. There, yeah, there you go. Yeah. So it's not, and it's become an ongoing joke to where it's like, listen, bro, like if you can make it there and fuck up, you can do it anywhere. So and like I said, it's no personal thing. It's a lot of those guys, and I don't blame them. Who wants to be on the show with a guy who's fucking loud, obnoxious? I wouldn't want to be, but that's me. I just get too fucking happy.
Man, that's why I started my own podcast network because I had the idea for years, but nobody wanted to work with me because I'm controversial. I say what I want. I don't give a fuck what you think, and I'll tell you to fuck off every which way to Sunday. I don't
Yeah, hell
care.
yeah.
What
I
are you
don't
gonna do?
care
Come
about
through
your
my
feelings.
computer?
I don't care about your feelings. These people didn't pay to see me, so I'm gonna act a fool anyways. I did what I came there to do, and I'm allowed to do what I'm allowed to do. Nobody's fucking in charge of me.
If you're not the main event, you're on the card. You didn't build the house. You know what I mean? You're there to have fun.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but we can talk about that off air.
Yeah, no,
Um,
yeah.
man, if you can come up like I say to all the boys, that I've become somewhat friends with, until you get your passport, this will carry nothing. But I don't mind telling the boys that I talk to up here that are promoters and stuff like, hey man, check them out. My name doesn't carry anything for you, but your name in their ear gets them thinking, oh, what's this about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well,
I
hey,
don't carry
I'd
any weight,
appreciate
but
that
I'll
for
put the
sure.
name out. Like
Yeah.
I'm having fun doing it, and like now that hardcore is the champion of mine. I'm getting a little bit ballsier, and I'm reaching out to different promotions. Be like, oh, how do you feel about him? Like some like him. I've had a couple say, fuck, we're not touching him. So, but because he's a deathmatch guy. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, what is, before I wrap this up with you on the interview, and I'm going to have you on again in the new season because I posted today that as of the end of September, I'm taking a break. I got to focus back on life, and my kids got stuff going on. But I'd love to interview again and more of
Oh yeah, dude, this is fun. I love doing this shit.
maybe when you would decide to get a passport and come up to a show with hardcore, we'll do it a live in person one.
Hell yeah.
Um, what is something that you would like two? This is a two-parter. One part, what is something, if you could go back 10 years and tell yourself about wrestling, what would you tell yourself? And two, what do you have for the people that are upcoming trying to be deathmatch or even just wrestlers in general?
So the one thing, if I could go back 10 years and tell myself,
I'm still here. I just got to clean off my screen.
no, you're
Continue.
good. So the one thing I would go back and tell myself would be for sure, man, this shit ain't it's not a popularity contest. As much as like, yes, the fans dictate who loves and who hates and who gets pushed and who doesn't, or what gets seen and what doesn't. As far as like the boys go, and a lot of bookers, if you're not popular in the locker room, or if you're not kissing ass or being seen with a lot of the boys in the locker room, they won't touch you. They won't use you. You'll get a name of being a weirdo or whatever the fuck. And it's changed my outlook on things to where it's like it's not a popularity contest, but don't worry about what these people think. At a point, still be cordial. And I've learned as the older I got, and it's another thing I would also tell myself. especially people getting in deathmatch and especially people that want to get into deathmatch and just wrestling in general. Network, just network, and whatever the fuck that means, man. Do ring crew. Even if you've done this shit for 15 years, like I've done, d- do ring. If you want to get on a show and nobody fucking knows you, show up, introduce yourself, do ring crew, talk to the booker, and eventually, I mean, that's how it kind of worked out for me at Mass Movement. I showed up, I did ring crew. Nothing was promised to me when I showed up. I wasn't promised to work or anything. I still showed up. I wore my gear. I walked around. I introduced myself. I shot the shit with Necro. Um, and before we left, the gentleman told me, he's like, "Hey, you want to come back in August? I can get you a match." I said, "Dude, I'm for sure there." So it's networking works, and whether that's, like I said, whether that's ring crew, whether that's hanging out with the boys, whether that's grabbing a bite with not everybody, but one or two of the guys afterwards. Because in the last 10 years, and the deathmatch scene is a lot different from how a lot of, like, prissy preppy wrestlers are nowadays. But because, it's how it is. Like, a lot when training around here in Buffalo, they have the one school where I mean, I will say I will credit them for training and everything like that. But it's a big popularity contest where if you're not hanging out with them, if you're not getting drinks with them after shows, if you're not kissing their ass, if you're not friends with them, if you're not partying with them, they're gonna talk about you. They're gonna call you weird. They don't want you around. You're probably not gonna get booked, and you're probably not gonna be allowed to train there anymore. So it's and a lot and it's not just like that here. I know it's like that a lot of places. So it's networking goes a long way as far as know your worth too. Don't go and kiss somebody's ass who's just gonna fucking walk all over you and not acknowledge you. And uh, even if another advice piece of advice is, even if you don't drink and you're not a heavy drinker, man, show up with something. Somebody's gonna want something, and you're gonna make a friend, and you're gonna make a friend for life that way too.
For sure. Listen, man, Shocky, I'm enjoying this conversation. I'm sure we could talk for hours on the air.
Oh yeah.
Um, but before we
I
wrap
told you
this
you're
up
gonna get
for
sick of me, bro.
no, I'm not sick of you. We're probably going to talk when we're done this some more. I got nothing but time as long as you do. But listen, I want you to promote everything you can, your upcoming events for the next month or however long you want to promote, go
Oh
off.
yeah.
You want to promote your merch, go off. Do that now, man, and I'll make sure, that it gets on this view.
Well, hey, so what do I have social medias? I only have one. So I don't really like people following my Facebook, but if you want my Facebook, you can just look me up. It's literally Jeff Shock 420, whatever the fuck. It's my personal Facebook. It'll take you right to it. But my Instagram is Shocky Wrestling, and the only place I sell merch. I'm trying to get people to make merch for me, but it's not really going too well because everybody wants a fucking arm and a leg for extensive amounts of shirts that I'm not I don't see that I'm going to be able to sell. But anyway, if you want some of my shirts and some nice exclusive stuff, it's at Pro Wrestling Tees. Just go on Pro Wrestling Tees, type in Jeff Shock. I'm not sure what the backslash is. I every so often I'll see something cool that I like, and I'll try and tweak it to my own. And a lot of things you see on there are Eddie Guerrero inspired, and you'll be like, okay, I know that one. And so
I love
it's
that.
yeah.
So what do you got coming up in the next bit, man?
So the August 23rd, Mass Movement, I'm wrestling Doc Holiday. It'll be their VIP show. So it's like a little exclusive show kind of before their main show. And then September 11th, I just got confirmation today that I will be wrestling Marcus Twist for Negative Outlook down in West Virginia. So that's going to be pretty big. And hopefully, if things pull through, was supposed to have something really really big in October. I don't want to say that because it kind of got canceled and it has to be rescheduled. So I don't know when it's going to be rescheduled to. But if that follows through, that'll really take off for me. And this person and her and I have been wanting to work together for a really long time. And she's somebody that I've been on a bunch of shows with, and I absolutely adore her and idolize her. And if she's watching this, she knows what I'm talking about. She's one of the queens of fucking OG deathmatch. And hopefully I get to that's on my dream list right there too. Hopefully I get that match, and I feel like once I get that match, it'll just take me from like right down here just a little bit more up here.
Hell yeah. With that being said, man, I'm gonna do my spiel and we're gonna end this interview. But guys, if you're in the areas that he's on the card for, make sure you're going to the shows, booing him, cheering him, whatever the fuck you're gonna do. You're either way, you're giving him a reaction. Buy his merch or don't wipe your ass with it. I don't know, just pay the man. And make sure you're supporting your indie scene. Make sure you're supporting your deathmatch scene. Make sure you're supporting your indie friends, your local communities, as long as you can. Fuck the mainstream, because the independence is where it's fun. With that being said, this has been Shocky. I'm Shadow. Thank you for tuning into the Shadowsphere. We'll catch you next time.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.